welcome everybody. I'll let you get all settled, get your coffee and your drinks and your food. We're going to be talking about how to amplify your business through your digital presence. Okay, raise of hands here. We're going to do a little bit of an old school poll. Who is actively posting on social media? 1, 2, 3, 4. Charisse, you are.
Does it count if you have someone do it?
It does count, absolutely. Yes. Okay. Okay, so put your hand up if you are just doing pictures, like images. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Put your hand up if you're doing video. Okay. Sorry, your name?
Paula.
Paula. You were like shaking your head, not sure. Semi. What do you mean by that? What's semi? Like kind of posting stuff sometimes?
So personally, no, I don't really post much.
Sure.
But for work purposes, I post more.
Sure.
Yeah.
What are some of the channels that people are using here? Hand up, Facebook. Okay. Instagram. Okay, we got a double hand over here. LinkedIn. Okay. TikTok. YouTube. Okay. Not as many. We're going to talk about all those and more. We're going to cover a lot today. We actually have quite a big agenda here. Why you need a strong digital presence, choosing the right content and channels overall for yourself, how to leverage batch creation, some video creation strategies. Some of you are doing videos. Some of you are just kind of tiptoeing your way in. Juliana today did a little video. She was like kind of, starting to get yourself more comfortable. So we're going to talk about building that on-camera confidence, which is key. How to schedule some of your content. Some of the key elements that are required as you're having a website. Who has a website? Okay, I'd say about a third of the room has got a website, so we'll talk through that. And then the importance of leveraging social proof and leveraging testimonials. For those who don't know me, my name is Chris Hanna. I am with All In Content. What we do is we make videos easy. We batch record videos, and by batch recording, I mean one day working with us sets you up for months of consistent content. We're doing anywhere between 40 to 50 to 100 plus videos in a single day, which means you are literally set up for months of content. If you want to know what it's like to work with me, talk to Charisse. She's been working with me for a year, I guess it's been, yeah. So why do you need a strong digital presence? Well, at the end of the day, you want as many eyeballs as possible on you for your business. Maybe to find new customers, maybe to promote your personal brand, maybe to hire people in your business at some point as well. The thing is, though, if you're going to start to create content, you need to know 4 things. 1, you need to know who you're creating content for. You're not really creating it for yourself. You're actually creating it for a specific person, maybe a niche or a group in mind. You want to define why that content is relevant for them as you're starting to think through ideas. And we're going to do some exercises on how to create some of these ideas. Again, figuring out who you support. Who is your ideal customer? Does anybody here know their ideal customer? Who they're actually trying to go for? Because you put your hand up, Charisse, you get to answer this question then. How would you define your ideal customer?
Our ideal client, I don't say customer for what we do, but client because we foster those relationships. But we're really looking for the business owner who has a mindset of wanting to succeed. That's our ideal client.
Juliana, did your hand go up or are you just scratching yourself?
I'm just scratching myself, but I could try and answer.
You can try and answer it, great.
Because I'm in 2 different fields.
Watch your hands, everybody, right?
Oh, I know, right? Don't move them too much. I was like, I'm in 2 fields. So for photography, I would say my ideal clients are, I guess it would be couples or weddings.
Okay.
And then for content creation and social media, I would say kind of small businesses and fostering a close relationship with those people.
Okay. The key is trying to figure out how do you define what that is, and then how is it easy through your content for someone to know that's the person, that's the company that I want to work with. That is going to be critical and important. The thing is you want to figure out how do you stand out. So I will use Charisse as an example here. There's about 30 plus bookkeeping companies in the Windsor region. The important thing is for her is how can she stand out? How can she be different than somebody else? And the reality is for a lot of industries is that using content is one way to stand out because not everybody is using it. It is actually very rare for a bookkeeper to put themselves out there and be on video. So we're going to talk about who do you serve more than anything else, because if you don't have your right audience, it's going to lead to content that does not resonate. Sometimes you have the wrong content that goes out there, the message falls flat, nothing's going to happen with it. So this is on your sheets that I have in front of you here. We're going to do an activity here. We're going to talk about your branding statement. And this is where I want you to kind of start to fill this out and think about it. You're going to be answering kind of these blanks here. I help, insert who you support. I'm going to give you an example of who that person could be or what that looks like for me. What do you do? So how do you overcome it? So what do you do for them? And by how do you do it? I think for each and every single person, whether it's your business or your personal brand, you want to be able to start to define what this looks like. So I'll give my example here. So with All In Content, I help overwhelmed entrepreneurs overcome overthinking creating content by teaching them how to batch record videos or to do it all for them. So with that statement, in my opinion, that's clear who I'm supporting. I'm supporting those people who know the value of content. They don't want to do it themselves, or they're struggling to do it themselves. Maybe they're spending 8 hours on a Sunday trying to release one video for a Monday, doing tons and tons, and Sharice is laughing because I'm talking about her. But like they're doing so much content creation, but it's taking forever to just do one. We're trying to make it easy. So using, if I go back, this logic here, what I would like you to do, and we can work on this individually and you can talk about it amongst yourselves. Actually, I have one more example here. We're going to fill this out. So from a recruiting firm perspective, a recruiting firm could say, I help stressed out business owners overcome the challenges with hiring. So again, who, what, and here's by the how. By posting, poaching, and hiring for them. So the question is for you on your individual statements, how do you start to fill out those? We're going to take a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to pick a few of you to share.
Sorry, if you want to finish, go ahead. I'll ask you.
I was going to say, we're just going to write down, again, who you help, define them. Maybe you can get really specific. You can be like, I help single mothers over 40, maybe if that's your niche or whatever it's going to be. However you want to define it, and then you start to break that down into, okay, what do you do for them? And then obviously how you do it. Your question?
My question to you was, is there a word that you professionally would change with overcome that I could use?
Let's see.
I don't help people overcome anything.
Yeah, so I like to use a good old thesaurus.
Okay.
Or you can think of like, what do you do? So it's like, so who do you help first? Let's start there. How would you define that?
I don't help per se. So I'm an artist,
Yeah.
as we were talking earlier.
Yeah.
So if I was to use the wording and spin it,
Yep.
I would help someone beautify their space.
Okay. Who is your ideal people that you're trying to help beautify their space?
Right now it's homeowners.
Okay, so you help homeowners.
Yes. Gallery spaces, if we can use that one as well.
Okay. So we'll use the homeowner as an example for right now, right? So I help homeowners, and then you could say, instead of overcome, you could just say, I help them, and then insert your sentence. You could skip the overcome portion of it if you wanted to.
Mm.
So like, you help them beautify their home by making art
Right.
easy, or however you want to define exactly what you're doing.
Right.
So like, just you could replace this overcome. I use overcome because at the end of the day, as you're trying to run a business, you're actually trying to solve a pain point. What's the pain point that someone has? And that's essentially what your content's going to be centered around.
I hear what you're saying.
So take, again, whoever's got a couple of minutes here to figure out what that looks like. Again, here's the example I got with All In Content. And obviously then a recruiting firm as well. Give you a minute, and then we'll talk about it. And here's the thing about this as you're doing it, because I can see some of you, I probably didn't leave enough space on the sheet because you're writing a lot, which is like, you can also refine this and keep going and refine and refine and refine as you continue to go, because your messaging is going to change. That's the one thing about running a business, is that it's an evolution. You're always going to be learning new things. You're always going to be tweaking and adjusting and continuing to narrow down. Does anyone feel confident to share what they've at least written as a first pass? Yes, I see the 2 hands up and I love that.
Okay, I help host of events, like people holding an event, funeral, birthday parties, you name it, and parents, young professionals who need a quick and easy meals. So what do? I help them with the stress of planning for meals, for parties and stuff by catering all their needs with food and beverages. That's what I do.
Nice. So for that last sentence, can we define it a little bit more? What type of food and beverage?
So that,
How do we get a bit more specific on that one?
well, with my company, what I do is I cater to my clients' needs. So I don't have one particular type of meal. I do Southern, I do Italian, I do Ghanaian. It's whatever my clients.
Whatever they're asking for.
They tell me exactly what they want. Like I just finished one meeting today, and then I give them my ideas, and then we go back and forth till we settle on something, and then I deliver.
So then if we look at what you've got here then. So I help hosts of events, families, overcome the stress of planning by, you said catering meals. Well, you're like by offering customized catered meals.
Yes.
Then, because then the word customized is something that you can have as part of your messaging. You'd be like, oh, you know what? I can do every different type.
Yes.
So again, that one extra word changes your entire sentence. Do I have another volunteer of anybody? Yes.
Okay. I do hair,
Okay.
and then I do have problems with clients who comes in and asks for what do I know about good hair products for their hair, because their hair been breaking out, and then they don't know what to get and how to do it. So I've decided to come up with my own hair product,
Okay.
my own branding, and then I have a shampoo and a hair conditioner, growth oil, growth balm,
Sure.
leave-in conditioner, you name it, like
Yeah.
a moisturizer. So by bringing all those to them, so all the problem is solved. Most of them they problem.
So then, how would you define that with with the statement then? Yeah. How do you think? So who's your ideal customer that you're helping?
Yeah, the ones that have problems with their hair.
Okay.
Yeah,
So is it male or female? Does not matter.
it does not matter. Yeah.
Does not matter.
Yeah.
Okay.
But mostly females.
Okay. So if we use females as an example, you're like, I help females who are struggling with is it damaged hair?
Yeah.
By offering them how would you define what your product would be?
Yeah, my product is called Braids by Karao. His name Karao means, in my language, Karaos mean hair.
Mm-hmm.
So hair products.
Okay.
Yeah.
But how would you define those hair products? If you meet somebody and you only have 30 seconds to tell them what you do, how would you define that for them? So they know exactly this is the type of hair products.
Yeah, it's a natural hair products
Yeah.
for hair growth. It helps grow your hair.
Okay.
And then makes your hair healthy too as well.
Okay. So we offer natural hair products that are going to help promote growth
Yes.
and also help make healthier.
Yeah.
Okay. Great. Awesome. See, it's like there's extra little words to help define it. It's going to start to help define your messaging, which is going to be critical as you start to come up with ideas and content as you continue to go. Because at the end of the day, you're going to start to be figuring out, okay, how do we start to figure out which content, which channels do you need to do? And it's going to start to come with what are the ideas you need to kind of work through. So as I asked at the beginning, some of you are creating content and putting stuff out there. How many of you have a list of ideas already of content that you just want to create? Or do you just create when you have an idea, something just pops in your head and you just create? How do you do it? I see smiles and people laughing, so I'm curious where everyone's head's at here.
You just create.
You just create?
Yes, I just create.
I have somebody else create them.
Okay.
Like you were saying, she takes a day and creates so much and just releases them. So, but I shouldn't say someone. She's my daughter. She's part of the team.
So she knows the business.
She knows the business.
Yeah.
So she does that.
Okay.
And we run when we see the camera because
She's always doing something. Yeah.
we have to stop whatever we're doing for them to take a video. So sometimes.
Yeah. Juliana, how do you do it?
I schedule mine in advance, so I
But like, how do you come up with ideas?
How to come up with ideas?
Yeah. How do you know what you're going to do? Like, you did a video today.
Yeah.
Did you think of that on the fly, or did you actually think of that in advance?
Yeah, in advance. I think it's just I kind of learned how to do kind of videos and stuff from shared experiences with clients.
Okay.
Yeah, that's kind of how I think I would say I do it. Yeah.
So what I'm going to do here today is I'm going to share 4 different ways that you can generate more ideas to kind of be able to do it at scale. The first one I'm talking about here is then an idea bank, where you basically, every time you have an idea, you write it down. This is how I initially first started. In 2018, I was miserable in my career, and I wanted to create my own personal brand. So I knew I needed to start pumping out content in order to start to build that, because my goal was to start doing speaking gigs. So I had a notebook, and every time I had an idea, I just wrote it down. An old school way to do it, but it was really effective. Eventually that evolves, and we'll talk about that, how that evolves. But like, you just got to start putting yourself out there. So we'll get into the specifics of how this could work. Google. I'm sure every person has used Google, even today, probably at some point. So we're going to get into how you can use Google more effectively. YouTube is another great way in order to get ideas. And then ChatGPT, I'm assuming everybody at least has heard of it and is using ChatGPT. Anybody use it today? Okay, some people did, yep. Right? We're going to get into AI and how that's going to help you as well. So with an idea bank, the way this works, I said the old school way is just in a notebook, or you can use a Google Doc, and as soon as you have an idea, you basically just write it down. You don't want to lose track of those ideas. I have an idea bank right now of over 1,000 video ideas that I know I want to record for myself, because I just continue to capture them and record and have ideas over and over again. What you do though, eventually, and this is why I like using a Google Doc, is you separate it into sections. So you separate into niche ideas, so stuff that's specific to your industry. General ideas, those are ideas that could work across the board, right? Like, it doesn't matter what kind of industry you could be. And then personal ideas. Maybe you've got some, personal stories, different tidbits that you want to be able to share. Separating all these ideas into these categories helps just, again, make it easier as you're going to start to maybe create content, whether it's images, whether it's videos. Now, I say here, the next way you could do it is organize it and do it like a pro, and you actually break it into bigger categories if you wanted to. I call these hacks and how-tos. So what are some things that are specific to your industry? Could be like, okay, Charisse is, talking about bookkeeping. So what are some hacks that she could tell some people of how to use QuickBooks Online as she's doing some of these videos? Motivational. A lot of people might just put some motivational quotes or different things that they say or certain sayings. You can be putting some content and ideas to that. Every single one of you has learned different lessons, sometimes the hard way. Maybe that's stuff that's worth sharing, so you can actually start to group ideas that way. We want to promote our businesses as well. So there might be promotional ideas that you want to do. Like, hey, I'm going to be running this sale, or I'm going to be running a special offer. Again, getting those personal stories is critical. And this is one that I love to do, which I'll add another word to it as well. Like, fun and skits is cool, but also adding bloopers of any content that you have, it can also be a blast. Right? You're shaking your head there? Yeah, right? Like, adding in some of that fun and that personality, because we all got different personalities. Being able to share that is really, really exciting. Google. This is where you just literally start to search in Google. What are some ways that you can ultimately find some content? So for this example here, it might be hard to see on the screen. I typed in the word becoming more confident. And before I hit enter, I can see all the list of different words that start to pop up. So this is going to be becoming more confident in yourself is second. Well, maybe there's a video, there's an idea if I was a confidence coach. How to become more confident at work. Like, these are just video ideas that you can ultimately capture. Now, if you pulled out your cell phone and you searched for whatever your topic would be, there's this option that says more to ask. If you hit the little arrow down, it expands another list of another 5 ideas. Every time you hit that arrow, it's another 5, and it's another 5. Before you know it, you could have 30 to 100 ideas of the top questions that are asked all for your niche. So therefore, there's no reason that you don't have enough content ideas flowing and going for you. I say down here, like, this is my go-to tactic when I would focus on trying to coach people through content, because this is an easy way to create a list. In 5 minutes, you could have a list of 100 ideas for posts, for videos, podcast episodes, YouTube videos, whatever you're trying to create. You can do that just using Google. That more to ask feature, simple way to do it. The other option is just to use YouTube. YouTube is the second biggest search engine in the world behind Google. So you can do the same thing where you start just to type in whatever that is. So I become more confident, and then it spits out some of the top video ideas on here as well. Again, it's a great way to figure out what are some of the ways you can kind of create content, and you continue to build and expand upon that. And then lastly, ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, for those who are using it, it is just, if you haven't used it much, it is a game changer in terms of idea generation, but it's only as good as the prompt that you put in. So if you just put a prompt and you say, give me 10 ideas of how to create content for a restaurant or a catering service, it'll just spit out 10 generic ones, but it's not going to be specific to you. So you want to add a little bit more context to it. So this is maybe harder to see here, but I say acting as an expert, tell ChatGPT what you want it to be. An expert in confidence coaching. I want your help coming up with 10 topics that we could use to build videos, blog posts, and podcast episodes. Our goal is to provide that to promote our business, to make sure we're positioned as experts in our industry, and we're trying to target entrepreneurs. I want these geared towards overwhelmed entrepreneurs. I'm telling it who it's for, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, and what I'm looking for. And then I start getting some of the actual specific content that just really lays it out a lot more structured. It's only as good as what you put into it. I could do a whole class just on AI, but it is a powerful tool that can make a world of difference. But you have to continue to make the best prompt overall in order to capture that. Oh, by the way, too, I should have said this at the beginning. You got questions throughout, throw your hands up, too. I'm happy to stop along the way. I want this as interactive as we can. So we're going to take a couple of minutes here. I just gave you 4 ideas. Obviously, creating an idea bank, using Google, using YouTube, or using ChatGPT. For each of your businesses, I'd like you to try and just flip the page over and start to try and figure out what are 10 topics that you could potentially do to create content. Using either, again, Google, ChatGPT, YouTube, or just ideas that come to flow. I want to challenge you to come up with 10 ideas. We're going to do in less than 5 minutes. And see who can do it. So here we go. I can see some people already starting to write and they got ideas going. So what are ideas that you could create for content? I didn't put it on the list, but I'll give this as another tip as well. Think of the who, what, where, when, why, and how also when you're trying to come up with content ideas. How do you answer those questions? That can also give you, that's 6 different ways to have content ideas right there, answering those questions.
AI built off of an algorithm? Is it built off of like word search?
So ChatGPT,
How is it used?
it is built, it's a language processor. It's accumulated years and years and years worth of data across the internet. They continually update it all the time. And there's multiple versions and levels of it, depending if you want a free version or the paid version. The paid obviously gets you more features and functionality, but it is an absolute game changer across any industry and what you can do. But starting with the free is a great way to kind of get used to it. But it comes up with ideas. It can write full scripts. It can blogs. You name it. Contracts. You can use it in so many different ways.
Right.
It actually can generate images as well easily.
Okay. Anyways,
Again, you don't have to come up with it all just on the top of your head. You can use Google. There's YouTube. You can pull out your phone. Pull out your phones. Yeah. Pull out your phones. Click the more to ask. Type in what your industry is, your business. I'll go back a couple slides, help you out here. Type in whatever it is. Before you hit enter, you'll see a bunch. You'll see this more to ask you after you hit enter. Then you get these ideas. Hit the triangle, it'll expand another most popular topics. You capture those, there's 30 ideas. Here's the secret sauce with this tactic. If you do this, and if you create a post, a blog post, say, or a podcast episode or a YouTube video, anything answering these questions. This is all stuff that's based on Google, obviously saying these are the top things. You do a video or a piece of content for your business for that. Eventually your website is going to start to rank higher because now this is the top questions that people are asking for. So therefore you're answering exactly what people are searching. So they might search for something as long as you're starting to use some of these right keywords. Then you're actually going to get ranked in Google. You're going to go higher. When you go higher, you get more business. Give you another minute. Who's at 10 already? Okay. Who's struggling and would like some help? Anybody? No one's struggling? Okay,
Sure,
good.
I'll take some help.
Okay. What do you got?
I didn't take it the way that you're saying it here. I took it in terms of just one idea and,
Sure.
and expanding it. So I create in series. I don't create one post
Sure.
as an artist.
But it's like, okay, so if you were trying to share who you are, what you do, how you help, what's some content ideas that you'd want to create? Like, is it describing a certain style of art? Do you want to share how you do it? Would you want to do video? Would you want to do posts? Like, you have to start to define, like, what are
For
some of those
sure.
ideas,
I
right?
mean, so that is the purpose of why I create a series. And
Sure.
What I'm going to be recently now doing is linking it to my website.
Sure.
And writing out what that composition is.
So it's
I
like-
write reviews for my own work.
Yeah, so like, okay, if you have a review,
Yeah.
that's one idea, that's
Yeah.
one piece of content. You got a series. Okay, well, what are the topics that you have for a series that you'd want to do?
It's composition.
Okay.
So it's black and white.
Sure.
It's line work. It's saturation.
Okay, that's three videos. That's four videos. That's four. Those are four different types
Right.
of ideas that you got just right there. Just what you said. Think of all those keywords. Those are ideas,
Okay.
and then you can expand from there. Okay, more people at close to 10? Yes.
It's not pulling the accent. Oh, go away. It's a, with this, then more to ask. That button is not showing.
Yeah, it's right here. So, okay, on some phones, so it says scroll up a bit.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, down.
Oh, down.
No, sorry.
Oops.
It says more results.
Yeah.
So sometimes they say more to
Oh,
ask,
okay.
sometimes it says more results.
Oh,
So you
okay,
click the little
that's
triangle. Okay, now close that triangle. Just
Close it?
Yep. Now see what happened? It expanded the list,
Oh, that's what you. Oh, okay.
and then you got more and more.
Just opening something.
So
else
no,
and
so it opens that, and then you expand it, and then it gives you more.
then give it more.
But like
Okay.
all those ideas potentially could be something that could work.
Okay.
Yes.
Like new concepts to me. So
Yep.
what I'm thinking of is like when I go and I want to ask a question in Google,
Yep.
I type this in and then all these things come up. But that's what you're talking about.
So-
This kind of content.
That's right.
That I could like I could do something.
You
on.
could do a piece of content for everything there. So say you clicked
Yeah.
one that like really resonates with you. 10 ways to cope.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's obviously a topic that you could write down. It's like, okay, what are your 10 ways that you want to say? As you scroll down, so scroll.
Other things.
No, yeah, don't go back there. Just keep scrolling down just a little bit. See this? Now hit the triangle. Sorry, that triangle. Sorry, the arrow.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an idea how to cope with stress. But now that you expand it and you click it again, it's given more. You hit this, it's given more. All these ideas are the top questions related to that topic that now you can be able to produce more content. So it's like basically you're like writing down every one of those that is relevant to you. So why can't I handle stress? Well, maybe there's a piece of content on that.
Yeah. And then you want to develop this in different ways so that it attracts people to different things.
That's right. That's right.
Okay, because not everybody wants to watch YouTube videos. That's why they like.
Well,
something else,
it depends
right?
on what your clients are though. So
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like if you want to generate to different clients.
That's right.
You have to do things
Well,
in a way that.
we will get to we'll get to that actually. Yeah. Okay, just to keep us moving here, does anybody feel confident in sharing maybe some of their ideas that they've come up with for their business in terms of content? I'm looking at you.
Yes.
Well, I do both illustration and graphic design. Just ignore this because it's just.
I'm looking at you. Yeah, I'm not looking at your list. It's all good, man.
So, as an illustrator, I would not call myself illustrator, but I'm just an artist. So, people connect well with emotions.
Yes.
So, whenever this is something that I try to experiment, and then on my TikTok it did work well. Is people love sad stuff. Like,
Okay. So sad stuff's an idea that you want to
so
share.
When I
Okay.
illustrate like very like sad drawings or like very where there's loneliness or depression or anything like that, it's kind of like it's emotionally connecting with people. So I love drawing that stuff and kind of
Sure.
like, whatever. So that works for me.
So so you've listed off like 4 ideas. What other ideas do you have then?
Creating illustrations for like children's book.
Okay, great.
That's one of them.
Yeah, there's a whole piece on that you could do. You could break that into multiple sections.
Another thing that I did was like, because I work with Juliana, so I also we work at Fashion and Beauty United, it's a
Yep.
magazine. So we did like little illustrations for like restaurants that are just small businesses, that are like small coffee places. I used to like draw them, kind of like promoting them.
Right.
So it kind of gives them an exposure, and like I just love doing that. And then as a graphic designer, I love doing logos like for products.
So
Like,
then
if
you
I'm,
could
like,
do everything on your process, how you do it, why you do it, show examples across the board.
Yeah.
Right? So like everything that you've kind of rhymed off there, even quickly, you've got, like I know you don't have as much on the page. You told me not to pay attention, but I see it.
Yeah.
But you've got like 20, 25 ideas that you could easily break apart there.
Yeah.
Like you got a month's worth of content in just a couple of minutes, really. Yeah. Who else wants to share some of the ideas that they've started to write down? I saw your pen just fly in here. I know I'm putting you on the spot, but what kind of ideas did you start to write down?
Yeah, so, okay, I'm trying to do like idea bank.
Okay.
I also chat GPT like
Sure.
for some ideas, but I'll go with idea bank. So I'm doing a natural skincare and hair product.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm thinking about talking, maybe I create content talking about like common problems or issues in hair and
Mhm.
skin products.
Right? Yeah, there's lots probably there you could do.
Yeah, and as long as it's, I support natural solutions, so can talk even about what kind, how can we make like simple products or solutions from our kitchen or from whatever ingredients we have. And another thing is, if I want to like highlight my products, I'm going to talk about what kind of solutions that my products trying to solve,
Good.
and how like the ingredients break down this one do that. etc.
I think like what you're saying there is really important in the sense that like keep your videos simple, right? So like if it's a video or it's a post or whatever it's going to be, it's like, okay, this product solves this problem. That's one idea. Don't be like, this solves this, and this, because then it becomes like way too much, right?
Yeah.
But then if you have like one or a couple, just keep things simple is critical for what you're doing. Okay, so there's different types of content out there, right? Like we've got image posts and carousels, there's videos, there's podcasts, there's blogs, there's articles. I did ask some of you, obviously you're doing that. Anybody here doing a podcast? Just one? Okay. Anybody got blogs on their website? Okay, just a couple. Okay, we're going to talk about all of this and why this matters. So, image posts and carousels. Okay, so everybody, who's been on social media today, by the way? I should ask that question. No? We got some no's? I'm surprised, actually. So, I'd say we got... some people are busy on their phone on social media, maybe. Right? So I'd say we got about 70% of you who have been on social media today. So at some point, you probably come across a post or a carousel. Now, the honest truth, and I'm not trying to go negative right away, but I'll say that they're sometimes easily overlooked if it's just an image sometimes. Because sometimes they don't hold that attention. People just will quickly scroll. I call it a high effort, low reward, sometimes also with carousels. People are familiar with carousels, what that means? Carousels are the ones where there's an image, and then you swipe, and then there's another image, and you swipe, and then there's another image, and you keep swiping, and sometimes they can go, depending on the platform, 5, 10. On LinkedIn, you go I think over 100 you can swipe. So I put them in the same bucket because basically these are static images So what happens with images here is that they're pretty easy to create. You know, Canva, people are familiar with Canva. You know, very easy, great tool. I think it's the best $149 I spend, you know, a year to ultimately just be able to create image posts, carousels, super easy. It's just a good way to just get stuff out there at least a basic, simple level, is to get images out there. Videos, they obviously command attention. They help people, you know, stay glued to what's kind of going on. Sometimes you have some movement, you got some sound. They're great for testimonials. They're great to explain who you are, what you do, more than anything else. There's a perceived complexity with videos that some people think it's really, really hard, or they overthink videos and they get nervous and they get scared as they're doing it. So we're going to talk about how to get comfortable on camera later on. And there's also a cost associated with it. So sometimes depending on how complex you want to go. But honestly, you can do so much just armed with your cell phone. You don't have to get crazy when you're trying to create video. I've done thousands of videos just on my cell phone. And then obviously the length and the quality can differ accordingly as well. Blogs. Okay, I'm going to go podcasts first. Podcasts are a great way to kind of connect for people. You can do audio-only podcasts. You can do visual podcasts. You can do a combination of both. But it's a good way to have a longer form kind of storytelling, interview style to get content out there. The beauty of them, I think, is when you chop them up. Take a podcast that's, say, 30 minutes long, chop that into small micro clips, and then you got yourself way more content. I always say a 30-minute episode can probably get you at least 15 different micro clips of content. Now, there's an ongoing commitment that's required when you do a podcast. Most podcasts don't make it to 100 episodes. Most people actually give up around 20 episodes. So if you get past 20, it's really good. If you get past 100, you're ready to rock. But again, it's really challenging to do because it does take some commitment and effort, as you probably know, like trying to book guests, production, promotion. It's a lot of work. Juliana is just shaking her head. She's like, yep, absolutely. So it can be tough. Now, this is where I think the other thing to help make it a bit easier is when you do a visual with your instead of just doing audio only. But again, it depends on your comfort level. Go back to blogs. Only a couple of you have blogs on your website. This is something that's so important. Are people familiar with the term SEO? Some? No? Okay, search engine optimization. Basically, you want to be able to be found on Google. And so a blog on your website can help you be found using keywords. And so if you have blogs, which basically are just fancy articles more than anything else, it helps get you traffic. It starts getting eyes on you if they're done the right way. Establishes you with a little bit more expertise on your site. It does require consistency and it requires a lot of work to come up with ideas. Now the good news is you could use ChatGPT to help create a lot of those. Obviously it depends on your prompts of how that's going to look, but again, that's something that can really help. The problem is, anyone know the word TLDR, the term? Too long don't read. Excellent. Most people don't read nowadays. Right? Most people just rather watch something. So these are good for obviously, the Googles, the search engines, the Bings of the world, although most people don't use Bing, to ultimately be found on the website, but most people don't read. So you want to add in images, because again, hey, it's a couple of paragraphs. I'm not reading that, right? You want to have images and videos. So I'm glad somebody knows TLDR back there, so thank you. Let's talk the channels here. So not every channel is maybe needed, right? So you had said back here that you have to figure out what channel sometimes you're going to do. Should be a blog, should it be like YouTube, should it be TikTok, Instagram, whatever. You don't have to be everywhere. You want to ultimately choose content based on what you want to share. Maybe you don't want to do everything. Maybe video's not for you. That's totally cool. Maybe audio only is the way to go. But you got to think about, from a channel perspective, where does your audience hang out? For the longest time, I neglected Facebook. I hated Facebook. I don't want to do anything with Facebook. I only focused on LinkedIn. When I made the switch to start doing more on Facebook, things really changed for me. And I thought, I don't want to do it. But that's actually where a lot of my customers were. I didn't think about that. But each channel also requires a different level of effort. So yes, there's ways to be on all of them, but you don't have to be. So LinkedIn, primarily professional audience, You get a lot of people, industry leaders who are on that. It's B2B focused, so business to business focused. It can help you with generating business leads. Articles, you'll do really well. Professional content seems to do well. I still get views on stuff that I did like 4 or 5 years ago still, that I don't talk about those topics anymore, but they're still valuable. The challenge is it really requires a lot of social interaction. By that I mean you have to engage a lot on LinkedIn in order to actually have the algorithm start to really push your content. So in a lot of ways, you just have to make tons of comments. Like, I know there's a lot of coaches out there, and I've paid for coaching on LinkedIn as well, where they're trying to advise, before you even post, do 100 comments across the board, which is insane. But in order to get the growth on LinkedIn, to really push it, they want you to do so much engagement. They're actually prioritizing that more than anything else. Like, Colin, you'd be like, wow, it is a lot. But there are coaches who will like charge you lots of money just to, that's all they're trying to share with you. It's just comments, link across the board. If you're trying to run ads, it is higher, it's more expensive than some of the other platforms as well. LinkedIn is owned by Microsoft, so it's a bit pricier. The algorithm is really, really tough sometimes as well, and the changes that can happen. You can have the best reach ever, and then they switch their algorithm, and then you get absolutely nothing. You're kind of at their whim. So it's a bit of a challenge there. Facebook, I believe today, I think I saw, is the 20th birthday of Facebook. 20 years. I feel old. But like, so 20 years ago, this thing started. Obviously, you got tons of reach. It's the largest user base across any social network. There's lots of cool advertising, targeting options that you can have there. Tons of different content ideas as well. Video, text, images. You can go live. Who here's gone live before? Just 2? Maybe I can get somebody to go live tonight. We'll see. Organic reach is tricky here sometimes as well. That's why you have to do a little bit of boosting, if you've heard of that before. Facebook is seen as for the older audience. I'm going to be 40 in a couple of months. I guess I'm considered part of the older audience. Anybody else plus 40? No one wants to probably admit their age. We got a couple people. Okay, good. But yeah, it's a little bit trickier. Instagram and TikTok are viewed as the younger, hipper, cooler ones. As I said, younger, hipper, cooler ones. It's more visual content, right? It started off as just picture kind of app. Reels are really the thing that really drive a lot of traffic there. There's always new features, which at the same time can be a little bit annoying because there's quite a bit. As a tool, it requires a ton of demand overall. It's asking for a lot in order to really rank high on Instagram at this point. They want you to do 6 stories a day, multiple posts per day in order to get that traction, what you want to do. So it is tough. The thing that's really tough, and this is just in the last couple of weeks, so they've launched a new membership tier with Instagram where it's going to be a lot harder if you just have a free account. There's 4 levels of this membership tier is going to have, going anywhere from, I think it's $15 to $300 a month in order to get reach on Instagram. So it's going to get really tricky. They're really trying to push a pay-to-play model, which will, I think, be really, really tough when you're starting to look at Instagram. TikTok, who's on TikTok? Okay, who watches just TikToks but doesn't post anything? Okay, I get more hands putting up for that, which is also true. There was a time where it was perceived to be higher option to be going to go viral. Again, it's an engaged audience. There's a little bit more creative freedom. It isn't just all dancing. I'm not going to dance. If you thought I was about to dance there, I'm not going to dance. Colin will dance at the back, though. I know we already talked about that, so we're good to go. But it's unpredictable. A lot of people just kind of do the trends. Well, the thing is, you can do all the trends in the world. Doesn't mean it's going to actually bring you business, right? You can get that view. So you got to see what you're going to try and do there. There's challenges, obviously, in the U.S. Some of you might have seen that as well. Who knows how that all plays out? How does that play out here in Canada? We'll have to kind of monitor that as well. But the long-term viability does remain in question, potentially. And then YouTube, again, that second biggest search engine, lots of value there. You can get a massive reach to a bigger global audience. There's a lot of benefits to actually getting traffic back to your website through YouTube. You can also monetize that if you get past a certain threshold of followers. There's sponsorship and everything, just like some of the other platforms as well. The challenge with YouTube is that it does take a long time. It's a long game to try and win on YouTube. And it can be expensive, it can be time consuming. The competition is crazy because there's so many videos that are on there, so it can be really hard. So before I kind of move into the batch creation side of things, any questions or thoughts on some of the channels? Yes?
Yeah, I just have a question, or maybe not a question, maybe a question in comments. Okay, so for myself, I already have the website and Facebook and Instagram, but I have been asked a couple times, why don't I have LinkedIn, like for the business?
Sure.
But I just don't see, I don't have the time.
Sure. And what's your business?
As far as,
What kind of business is
what
it?
I would post on it. It's not really so much, it's like a grassroots initiative, and so I don't know, it's, we provide, it's called Beauty is Me, and we work with a lot of children in our community backed by ratio, and just talking about self-confidence and loving themselves, loving their hair specifically.
Okay.
And talking about self-love, self-esteem, and just building their confidence to be comfortable in any space, regardless if they see representation of themselves or not. Just it's so, but we have a lot of things on our Facebook and our Instagram that we're always posting, but I just have not created LinkedIn. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, am I losing out some professional audience there? You know, I don't know.
I don't think you need to be on every channel, especially initially when you first start. I think where you are, probably based on Facebook and Instagram, that's probably your right play. If you were trying to get on LinkedIn, it could be more of like personally, you're trying to just post and reshare some of the stuff on LinkedIn. If you were going more business to business, then you would want to be having a space on LinkedIn, right? LinkedIn doesn't do that well if you're trying to do business to the consumer in some way, whereas like Facebook and Instagram are better for that.
Because what I have a personal LinkedIn, but I have not shared like the business, because I just want to keep it sort of separate.
Keep it separate, yeah,
Right?
understandable.
So only certain things I would post on my personal, but I haven't, maybe once or twice I've done it.
Sure.
But yeah.
But yeah, I would think unless you're trying to really push the business to business side,
Okay.
I don't think you need to start like posting there yet, unless you just wanted to do it through your own personal page and your brand, right? We're going to get into a section on scheduling content, and there are ways that like you just post the same stuff out to every channel if you want, just so it's out there and just gets eyeballs, but maybe it's not your main priority.
I like that suggestion, because at this present moment, we're just hoping that from this connection with SWOBEN, we'll be able to start to generate some money, because we have not been able to really generate funds, or we're funded to do this work with government funding, but we have another side where, I was talking with Colin about maybe being a social enterprise,
Right.
with certain things. So maybe
And that's where it starts to go more down like a LinkedIn path, right? Like the benefit I think of being LinkedIn personally for yourself is like, so say SWOBEN that, or even Colin just post something, then you can see that and it's like, okay, well that might be something I might want to reshare, I want to hop on that, maybe do a comment or something, just start to get some visibility on the personal side of it for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions before we move on to the next? No? All right, we're going to talk power batch creation here. So batch creating content, basically, whether it doesn't matter what type of content it is. It could be images, it could be videos, it could be podcasts, it could be blogs. I'll show you some of the stuff that I batch create that I've been doing for the last like 6+ years. There's a lot of benefits to it. Basically, at a high level, though, batch creation just means you're going to sit down and you're going to pump out as much content of the same type of content as possible. So the reason for doing this, it's going to save you a ton of time, because switching from one thing to the next thing to the next thing is time consuming and you actually lose time. It's more productive overall. It gives you an opportunity to be more consistent in terms of your branding and your messaging. So like think about Canva, right? Who's here creating some of their own content in Canva themselves? Okay, in the back, what's your business?
Solutions business specializing in software services.
Okay, so what kind of content are you creating in Canva? Like social posts, kind of, or different images?
Yeah, images, or like, because I made a few posts on LinkedIn, for instance.
Yep.
My business page, and just generating the image and just creating like something visually appealing
Yeah.
that relates to my business. Yeah.
Because so with your business, then the opportunity that you have, if you're batch creating, is you could sit there and have, say, like 10, 20, whatever number of ideas, and you're like, I'm just going to get all these different images and posts done, say for the next month or 2 month or quarter or whatever. Yeah. That's the power of just like sitting down and just focusing, as opposed to I'm just going to do the one, then I'll move to another task, and I'll move to another task. Because over time, I found that it slowed me down to switch from task to task to task, but just to focus, and I'm going to use my word, go all in on like one thing, just made life easier. Then it makes things easier as you're trying to organize files as well. So this is some of the stuff that I have batch created over the years. So I will do long form videos. When I get into the mood, I'm just going to sit there and just pump out as many long form videos as possible. Maybe I'll record 3, 4 different, long form videos, like 20, 30-minute ones. I will do social media videos. My record is 227 videos I've recorded in one day for myself, just to kind of continue to pump stuff out to get that stuff going. That way I can set my lights up, set my camera, I can switch the different shirts and clothes that I have, and then just continue to pump that out. Thank you. Blog posts. That's something, like I love to do as well. It's like, why don't I just batch create enough blog posts for the year? So for every client that I work with, I'm either doing a quarter at a time or a year at a time in terms of just some of the content that we'll have created there for them. It's a mix of using obviously some AI, but also coming up with the ideas myself. I think I write better than some of the AI, so I will, put those all, and I'll just spend a couple of days and do that. The hardest part, most time-consuming part, is actually scheduling all that to be released. Like I said, there's social media content and posts, and by that I mean like static image posts. Podcast episodes. When I launched my podcast in 2019, I started recording one episode, and then I was like, okay, now the next week I got to do another episode. So I'd record it, and I'd upload it, and I was like, this sucks. So I told my wife, go shopping, and so she went shopping for the afternoon, and I'm like, I'm going to record 6 months worth of podcast episodes the whole time that she's shopping. Now these were like 20 to 30 minute things, and I just powered through them. And I was like, oh sweet, this is how I'm gonna do it. Like, I had to have her out of the house. I never felt like I was comfortable enough to record anything while she was in the house initially. Now it's completely changed, like I don't care. But I had to say to Raquel, I'm like, please leave so I can just pump through as much content as possible. But podcasts are a great way to do it. Just to sit there and just record and get that stuff done. Because those are ones where like I was doing solo podcasts at the time. And then memes. I like to create some memes and stuff like that based on some of the stuff. Just have some fun with it. So there's the, what is it, comic book guy, right? Okay, yeah. Raquel's a big Simpsons fan, so I've put that in there for her. But again, you can batch create lots of different types of content. So again, the simple, easy way to do it is first come up with your ideas, right? So come up with any of those topics and stuff that you have. If you got an idea bank, great. Then create your content. So whatever it is, so if it's just images you're going to create in Canva, awesome. Just create as many of those as you possibly can. Blogs, podcasts, videos, whatever it is. I love turning everything into a game. So I'm like, oh, if I did 20, next time can I do 30 or whatever it's going to be. I don't know how I'm going to beat 227 videos in one day again, but I'm going to try. My goal was 300 I wanted to do that day, but had some issues, after a while. That just, you get exhausted after doing that many videos. Then at least the thing is, you get at least a few weeks or months worth of content. I technically don't have to create another video for the rest of 2024. I have enough in the pipeline already ready to go. That gives me a lot of time so I can do whatever, right? If Sharice calls me and says, hey Chris, I got this problem, can we talk through it? I can easily hop on as opposed to saying like, oh, I got this video I need to pump out. It just gets you ahead. And that's the cool thing. Then you can post or you can schedule that across your social media. Anybody scheduling their content for release? Okay, got a couple? Great. That's a game changer. We're going to talk more about that as well when you start to schedule it. We're going to jump into video creation strategies here. There's 4 types that I'm going to talk about for those who are creating videos or want to maybe do videos. The first is scripted videos, which is pretty self-explanatory, but I'll dive into that. Then there's bullet point, jump cut style, on-the-fly videos, and long-form videos as well. So scripted videos, this is where you're literally going to write out word for word what you're going to say, right? And when I first started doing videos, that's what I did. I wrote everything out. How am I going to start it, what am I going to say in the middle, how I'm going to end it. I set everything up, the camera here, behind it I had my monitor, and I literally would kind of read what I was going to say. That was great. At least I was consistent with what I was going to do. I was able to have it look professional, and it kept the messaging consistent. The problem is it took a lot of time. You're writing everything down. It's definitely not as genuine when you're reading things out. You got to start to train yourself how to actually read it. There's apps and tools, and I'll get into some of those as well. And the thing is, your eyes are a huge giveaway. Now there's AI tools out there that will actually change your eye position so that it doesn't look like you're reading, which is really cool. And some of them work okay. So I can sit there and I could read something and you wouldn't know that I'm reading it based on how it's looking. AI's come a long way. So again, all you're doing is you're writing your script. You could use a teleprompter app. There's two that I've used before. Nano Teleprompter, that's $4.99 on the Google Store. Prompt Smart Pro is another one. This one's like $100, but this one's really cool in the sense that it detects if you're off script. And so it pauses your script as it's moving, the teleprompter, like kind of like a news broadcast. And then once you get back on track, it'll start moving. It automatically recognizes your voice. So that's kind of a cool way to do it if you are going to start to use a teleprompter. Obviously, the thing that's important is like kind of rehearse your delivery and adjust as needed. Like if your teleprompter is going too fast, then you're going to be like speeding at a million miles an hour, and then obviously it's just you might struggle with it. But you're going to have to edit obviously accordingly as well if you make any sort of mistakes. But again, scripted videos is a good way to start if that's what you feel more comfortable doing. The next one, and this is the one I prefer with a lot of the clients that I work with, is what I call bullet points or jump cuts. They're quick, they're easy to kind of do. It gives you a bit of more of a natural feel. You can power through and do a lot more from a content creation side. At times it's going to feel, when you first start, it's like, oh, this seems like an amateur, where you're like, you say a line, you cut, you say a line, you cut. But you can make that really smooth with editing. It does require a little bit of an editor or you to learn how to edit some videos. But essentially with this is like, you come in, you say a line, you open up the video, and then you could stop, take a look, see what's your line again, say the next line. Pause, say the next line, then you just cut the pauses. It's a quick way to kind of get your video out there. You can fly through them a lot. Obviously, you're still planning out your content and planning out what you're going to say, but that's one way to do it. You're editing any of that out. You can add any sort of graphics to kind of play around some of the edits itself. The way I do it now for everyone that I work with, we'll come up with like, how do we want to start the video? What are a couple bullet points that they can improvise? And then how do we want to do a call to action? And then if we have to cut, as people work more and more with me, then we don't have to do any of the cuts in between, unless there's some sort of mistake that happens. On the fly videos, this could be almost like going live, right? Charisse went live the other day from the beach in Colchester. And so this is where you literally just pull out your phone and you record something, right? And it doesn't matter, like you have it ideally this way, which is going to be the same way you're going to do like a reel or some sort of video. It's quick, it's easy, it's engaging. The challenge might be, maybe you got like, shaky hands and stuff like that, or you're too close to your face, or you start at a weird time if you go live and maybe you've got a different look. Charisse is smiling because we had a great start to her video, and I think it helped.
Yes, it did.
But the challenge with going live or doing these on-the-fly videos, you can't control the environment. So there's been many times, because my wife and I will go for walks, and I'll be recording a video as I'm talking and walking and stuff, and then a car backfires or a kid screams or something happens, right? And you're just like, oh, damn it. Okay, that video's no good, but if it's live, what do? You have no control over your environment. That's a challenge. And at times, it can feel unprofessional or low quality. $20, get yourself a selfie stick. Maybe it'll help a little bit just to be able to okay, I can have my video. But still, even this, depending on it still could be a little shaky and wild and stuff too. But at least you're starting to ramp up and get some content there. But again, could be inconsistent. The hard part is if you don't know how to edit, getting out background noise outside is really tough. So you got to get obviously the right equipment and software there. Again, so you just turn your camera on and hit record. Did you do that? Did you just hit record or do you plan it out?
Okay, I didn't plan it out at all.
You just hit record.
I just did it, yeah.
Yeah. On the fly is a good way to do it. One thing that I struggled with initially was like, I think I know I want to talk about this topic or whatever this is, and then how do I stay on track and not just meander off into some other conversation before you know it, you're like, oh, this is now like a 20-minute video and I meant it to be like 2 minutes or something like that. Well-lit areas is super important as well, as you're trying to minimize background noise as much as possible. Or do what I have here, get yourself a wireless mic. You know, wireless mic can make a world of difference. This one's got a red and a green light on it. The red light means it's actually recording all this audio to this as well. So if something happens to the camera, all my audio is backed up to this device too. And then the positioning of the camera. I have another client, not Charisse, who every time he does a live, he's like this, and he gets like just part of his face. So just watch the positioning of the camera. I said, dude, back up or get a selfie stick. But he was doing a lot of this. And I'm like, no one wants to just see half your face, dude. But hey, you don't know until you start doing it. Long form chopped up, this is a great way to do it as well. You just do one long session, right? It could be an interview, it could be an event. So we record every event that I do, and then I chop this up. So we're going to talk here for a couple hours. I'm going to chop this up, and I'll probably get, I'm say 50 clips from this probably, that I can eventually share out over the course of the next year. Every time I get an opportunity, I'm always capturing content. It gives you the opportunity just to like reuse it, switch it up, change things around. Maybe I say something really good. Hopefully I say something really good that I can use, right? But there's AI tools that also help make this process easier. I could take an hour and a half, 2 hour video. I could drop it into a tool like Video AI or Opus Clip, and then it'll scan through it. It'll take like maybe a half hour to scan through, and it'll say, here are probably 20 clips that might be good for you to actually use. And then it'll throw captions and stuff on. I usually just do my own captions because I like my style better. But then it's done. So I say a 30-minute video definitely gets you at least 10 micro clips. This is where it's valuable. If you can, get on other people's podcasts, get interviewed by them, because then you can actually get more content. It can be tough if you don't edit it the right way. And it sometimes can be time consuming because maybe it's really hard to find those good clips because you have to watch something over and over and over again. I like to use AI to help me sometimes on this. It just makes life easier. Again, record long form. Anybody ever done a webinar? Okay, a couple. You know, webinars are a great way to do it as well. But you're finding sound bites. So when I'm advising people to like, they're doing an event, doing a podcast, try and speak in sound bites. Try and say something that's less than 60 seconds that's actually impactful. So like something that sounds really smart. That's a sound bite. Because then maybe you can go back to it. And then as I'm looking at this, and hopefully Raquel's caught something that could be a sound bite for me as we're doing this. And then you edit, caption, thumbnail, and all that for release. So obviously there's 4 different types that I've talked about here for videos. Your allocation of what you do depends on your comfort level. It's going to depend on your experience and ultimately your audience. You don't have to do all of them. You could just decide, hey, I just want to do scripted videos, and that's totally cool. Maybe you want to do bullet points, whatever it is. This is how I currently do it right now. I'd say 10% of what I do is maybe scripted. And most times those scripted ones are half scripted in a way, but it's basically like a long form speech of some sort that I'll kind of do. I'll do some that are bullet point. On the fly, I love doing, and then the chopped up content, I'm trying to do more long form stuff and chop it up. Is kind of my style. But this changes all the time. You just got to figure out what's your allocation if you're going to do video. From a video side, you can go as simple or as complex or as inexpensive or as expensive as you kind of want. I want to outline here a basic setup. You could just get away with just a cell phone, a ring light. Who's got a ring light? Okay, a couple people. So again, that's not going to cost you much. Obviously, whatever your phone is, I didn't include that in the terms of the cost. Or you could go with a ring light, your cell phone. Maybe you want to add a webcam because you're doing something. These are some cheaper mics that you can get for like $40 kind of on Amazon. You could add in a USB mic if you wanted to do stuff again with that webcam. A couple $100. That investment's just going to level up the quality of what you're trying to do. As you're trying to pitch your business, as you're trying to get more customers, you might want to start to ramp up depending on where you're at and what stage. Then you get into something that's a little bit more expensive where you start adding in different lights. Maybe you're adding a more expensive camera, kind of what I have here. You're adding maybe green screen. You're adding in kind of the microphones that I have here. It just depends on what you're trying to do and what your goals are. I really evolved over the years. Like I did most of my stuff with cell phones. Then eventually I started adding in, other tools to help me. Started getting a GoPro, then I bought a camera, which is probably in that bag there. I always bring 2 cameras just in case. Then I ramped up to this camera. So you just have to continue to see like what makes sense for you depending on your evolution. Maybe you don't have to do any of it because maybe you hired someone to do all that and they incur all that cost too. I'm going to stop for a second because I just talked for a little while. Any questions on what I got so far before I get into some more tips? Yes? Okay. You go first. Your hand went up first. You were way faster than Charisse.
We recently did a video talking about our services, but we did it with a lot of the clients who actually benefited from
Testimonials.
Some testimonials.
Great. Yep.
And some of us were in it as far as who were part of the business.
Yes.
But it was mainly for the clients, like the parents and the kids. Now it's almost like 17 minutes, and I'm thinking that's long.
Yes, it is.
So I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe we should put it on our website.
Okay.
Because at least, it's there.
Is there multiple clients in that video?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I would say then you could break it into multiple clips and put it on your website.
Yes. So that's what I'm thinking, to have it on our website, the full video.
Yep.
But then to cut up the clips.
Yes.
For the social media, like Facebook and Instagram.
100%. Yeah.
Okay.
So you can make it like, I would say no more than 1.5 minutes. Ideal 60 seconds. I know. So there's zero attention span, right? Like we're all goldfish at this point, right? So I know it's going to be hard to take 17, minute video, but okay. So, but you got different people, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So think of it as like, okay, well I'm going to take 30 seconds for this one, and that's one clip, and this one's going to be 1 minute, and this one's 1.5 minutes. Before you know it, maybe you actually have like 10 micro clips in that 17 minutes.
Okay.
You can still have the long one on your website. That's totally cool, and you should do that, right?
Okay.
But I'd say just share some of the little snippets of it.
Now, another thing is, I like that idea because that's what we were planning on doing. Now,
Good.
As far as like posting, like, do we post twice a week?
It's going to depend on your strategy. We're going to talk through it. We're going to talk through that. So hold that question, okay?
Can I ask a follow-up question?
Absolutely.
So the 17 minutes, right? Is it like where you planning to upload? Like, is it Instagram or YouTube?
For the 17 minutes, the full video, we're just going to put it on our website page.
Oh, so
Because we're thinking, who's going to work 17 minutes on Facebook?
No one.
We're done.
That's right.
So maybe on the website.
Yeah, so you can put it on your website, like have a specific page that goes to, it's like, hey, watch this full video, and you could also have your clips, then promote back to that same website, right?
yeah. So my question for you, like something like that, 17, 15, whatever. But for YouTube, that is fine, right? The length of the video.
Sorry, say that again?
The length for the video. In YouTube, that is fine, right?
Yeah, YouTube, you could go long form, right?
We have a YouTube link. We have
Yeah.
a video on YouTube.
The thing to keep it interesting though, with the 17 minutes, right? Like how do you add in either some animation, some graphics, some different cuts, maybe music of some sort to make sure that to keep perfect, to have people coming back, because again, attention spans, you said, they're non-existent in today's world. So you have to find some what I call pattern interrupters, something that's going to shake things up and say, oh, this is going to be a bit of an adjustment. This is something new to keep my focus. It is so hard to keep focus today. So, but then mix in with some of those clips. Okay. Charisse, your question, you had a question?
I had two. You asked earlier if we had any, I said no, but I did write one down. So the different avenues, like where you're gonna post stuff, if you are at the point where you have like an established client base, is it creepy to send out a survey saying like, which social media do you use, to kind of like get an idea of like the kind of social media platforms that your clients generally use?
I don't see how that'd be creepy at all.
And how would you go about doing that? Like, how would you start? You know me, it's always, that's why I love AI. It helps me with the start. I never know just where to
But like you're talking to your clients all the time. So there's opportunity to, as you're having like a face-to-face with them, or you're sending an email, like you could just do a simple survey, or just poll your audience. Like there's Facebook polls you could put out, and Instagram polls that you could put out too. Just say, hey, which channel would you like to see more content on? To understand, like there's ways that you can capture feedback from your audience without doing it, into your words, a creepy way.
Now, is it weird to send out, like if I wanted to do a survey, like with the survey monkey to get all the information at one time, is it weird to have a survey with only one question? Where you have
No, I think it's
off the ones you use
I would
kind of thing?
no. I think it's fine to do that because it's an easier way to collect the data as well.
Cool.
Yeah, and you should be leveraging your email contacts as much as possible. And everyone, it's not covered in here. It's a whole separate topic, but email marketing is probably the most effective way to actually do any marketing and get feedback. So leverage your emails. Any other questions? Okay. So lighting and sound tips is also some critical things as well. So wherever possible, use natural light, be in your windows. I've been to this building many times before, so I knew that there's windows here. I don't have to worry about bringing in big fancy lights and stuff. As it gets darker, obviously you're gonna have to adjust accordingly. But like you could get some softbox lights, the ring lights, LED panels. There's multiple different lighting styles that you can get. Again, depends on your budget, depends on what you're looking for. I have a plumbing company that I work with, and so sometimes when we're going on site and we're doing some different jobs, I know that I'm probably going to have to bring a light with me because it's going to be super dark in some of these I'll use the word creepy basements that we're sometimes in. So you do want to have some sort of light to help you out. Sound tips, try and find a quiet location. Soundproof your space. So when we bought our house a couple years ago, the contractors are doing the basement, and I said, I want you to soundproof my office because I don't want any such noises that are going to happen, because I knew I was going to create a ton of videos. Or shut your doors, close your windows. If you've got screaming kids next door that are going to always yelling, well, maybe just close your windows as you're going to start to record some of that content. We have that problem behind our house. There's like kids that just scream all the time for some reason. I don't know why. What's that? That's how they communicate. They're just playing and yelling. And then use quality microphones whenever possible as well. Don't neglect captions. Okay? I got to say this line here. 85% of people watch video with no sound on. Okay, I got some shocked faces here with that as well. It is so important. When I was in the corporate world, I remember seeing people just on their phone, and I'm thinking, they must be like responding to email or something like that. I look over to this one guy, he's a director, and he's just watching a video in the middle of this meeting without no sound on. That's what happens. People watch videos all hours of the day, but with no sound on. So, caption your videos. Every social media video that you release should be captioned. If you're not captioning it, you're doing yourself a major disservice. Because if we take 100 from that, that means 15% of people watch it with their sound on. So, make sure you're captioning it. There's SEO benefits, so again, it's going to help that video rank higher. It's more likely to be watched. I like to make sure that we add extra little parts to what we do. So we'll add emojis, we'll add some animations. I'm starting to add a lot more GIFs and stuff to stuff as well, just to keep them more engaging so something kind of pops up. It's that pattern interruption that I talked about. Just add something extra to it. There's multiple ways to kind of do captions. A lot of the editing software tools come with it, but they're critical and they're important. The other thing that's really important is thumbnails. People know what a thumbnail is? Kinda. Charisse, what's a thumbnail in your mind?
It's a curse. No, it's, you know what? When I wasn't using captions at first, so hardly anything would get watched. And then I wasn't using thumbnails either. And then once I switched to both, I couldn't believe how much organic reach I was now getting. It was that 1 second that I needed to draw their attention to get them to watch the video. They still dropped off about 6 seconds in, but I got them.
Sure.
At least for, it really just draws them in.
The thumbnail's going to be basically like, why should they watch that video? What's going to hook them in, right? It should be clear what that video is about. So this example here, how does the TikTok algorithm work? So for this company here, it's got, bright imagery. It's got a human face, which ideally you want to show on most of your thumbnails. So it's that first image that they're going to see. Because people are going to scroll. Everyone's just scrolling. That thumb is just working on your phone. So how do you get them to stop? So something bright like this, if someone's seeing this, they might be like, oh, okay, what's she going to talk about here? We got a clear topic. We know what this video is going to be about. If I'm interested in the TikTok algorithm, I'm going to watch that. Different colors, kind of keep it on brand sometimes too as you're kind of starting to build it. But again, you have 1 second to make an impression. You said at the back, attention spans, you're down to 1 second. Some research out there says you have 3 to 5. 1 to 5 seconds to get somebody to actually look at your content. That's kind of scary, to be honest. So you have to somehow capture them somehow, some way. So if you're creating content, there's kind of what I call a bit of a checklist of things that you should do, and I do have some of this on the handout that we've got here as well. But engage with your audience with something that's going to grab their attention. Like, what's the hook? And the hook is like, what gets them curious? Why would they want to stick around beyond the 1 to 5 seconds? What's that thing that's going to pull them in? Keep the video concise and clear. If you're just starting out with producing content, don't even aim for 60 seconds. What can you do in 30 seconds? Because people aren't going to watch if you're just brand new. So they're going to want something really short and concise. As you build a followership, as you get more people, then obviously you can start to expand that. Call to action. Anyone know what a call to action means? You're shaking your head? Yeah? At the back?
Making the consumer make a decision on your service.
You're very close, right? You basically, what you want them to do.
Yeah.
So at the end of a video, what do you want them to do? Do you want them to go to a particular website? Do you want them to book a consultation? Do you want them just to leave a comment? You basically are instructing someone to do something, to take action of some sort. You want that with any of your video content, but all of your content in general, even like any description that you do. What do you want them to do? Like, sure, they looked at, you've got something from an art perspective that you want to show them. What do you want them to do with it? Do you want them to give you a like? You want them to follow you, subscribe? Do you want them to book a meeting with you? It's figuring out what that looks like. Again, that thumbnail, get them to click, and then use those captions, again, because people do not turn on their sound. I have this up here, and I don't know if anyone's going to want to do it, but I'm going to ask this at the end as well. Does anybody want to record a video right now? Because you want to come up and record a video? All right, Raquel, we're going to move this. I love that we got somebody brave wanting to record a video. Actually, I'm going to take it with the other camera.
Okay. Now show her how to do the thumbnail, okay?
Okay. So I'm going to record you.
Okay.
So you rub it right there. I'm going to record you. Here, switch this. So tell me about your business, essentially. So before I start recording, actually. So tell me about your business, a little bit more about what you do.
So my business is called FEPS. It's a language solutions business specializing in subtitle services for audiovisual productions. Additionally, we provide professional and localization services, which include translations from English to French to Spanish, transcriptions, proofreading, video editing, and graphic designs. Each of our services is designed to break down a specific communication barrier.
And why should someone work with you?
Work with me?
Yes.
I'm easy to work with. I'm down to earth. I'm always open to learn from other people. And I just love being around people and working with people.
So here's what's interesting about what we just did. I'm going to stop this for a second. So okay, Fran, give her a round of applause, because getting up here and just like speaking and just like jumping in and doing a video is pretty rare for someone just to jump and do that. But like, you got up and you did a couple great things. So I want to go to the audience and just hear, what did you think as she was sharing her story and what she's doing? What were some of your thoughts in terms of this being a video? Charisse.
She was very confident about what she was talking about, and you can tell that you believe on 100% what you're doing.
Yes.
It translates.
It was very, very obvious to me that if you met somebody on the street, you could easily articulate who you are and what you do. That is really, really good. Have you recorded videos yourself?
Yes.
Okay, that is also very, very clear to me, right? Because you were very confident, obviously, in just coming up. Now, all I did was just hit record, right? I'm just I hit record, and then you go, whoa, for a second there, right? But here's the thing. All you're doing at the end of the day, Thank you. I'll let you go back to your seat here. I won't hold you up at the front here, hostage here. At the end of the day, all you're doing is having a conversation with the camera. And on the other side of the camera could be anybody, but don't overthink it. You didn't really overthink. You just started speaking. I deliberately hit record just partway through because here's the thing. You're spitting out a video as soon as you started talking. It's very easy actually to do it because all you're doing is talking, having conversation. I could literally just walk up to anybody, and maybe I'll do that, and I could just like turn on the camera and then ask them a question, and then they just, I'm not going to do it to you. You look like you were going to panic there. But here's the thing. All you got to do is just set a camera up and talk. And then the more you talk, the more comfortable you're going to get. If you talk about what you know, it's super easy. Don't try and pretend to talk about something you don't know. Because I've done that, and it's like, this video sucks. But if you do something that you know, you're going to be way, way more comfortable. And that brings us to that point where let's talk about being comfortable on camera. So again, thank you so much for wanting to step up. I appreciate that. It's not that difficult. Now again, I forced it on you, but I just hit record. But again, if you just follow some of these tips here, I think it can make a world of difference. So if you want to get confident on camera, first practice good posture. Some people like to stand when they record videos. Some people like to sit. Depends on what your energy level is. So Juliana, what's your preference? Would you like to sit or stand?
Sit.
Sit?
Yeah.
To feel more comfortable?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Yep.
Like my body language, I mean, I don't know, actually, I haven't done sitting up, or standing up, sorry.
Yeah.
So I actually don't know.
Therese, what do you like?
I like sitting and standing. It's when you want me to move, I get worried because I'm clumsy. So I automatically think, oh, here we go. Here's going to be another blooper.
That's right. It's like you got to figure out what works for you. But like having good posture is really important. So like, again, how you stand, like maybe you put your arms behind your back. Some people leave them out front. Some people just flail their arms all about. Right? You flail your arms? Yeah. That's okay. Be you. But like try and find a way to like have that energy. And so having good posture is going to help you. If you're leaned over, I'll just grab a chair here and like, see if this will work here. If I'm sitting here and I'm having a video and I'm just like hunched over like this, that's not going to look good for one. And it's going to also have like no energy. So you got to sit up if you're going to sit. You have a little bit of confidence. Make sure obviously the camera's in the right way. But like, don't be just hunched over, slouched over. If I lean back too far, I'm worried this is going to flip over. That'd be a blooper, I guess, in a video. But like, again, how you're going to sit or stand is going to be critical and important. Now, it's tough because some people speak really, really fast, which is totally cool too. But if you can speak clearly and slowly, that's going to help you with, obviously, from a captioning perspective. That's going to help make sure that your message is actually heard and understood. I think the key word here is clearly, but don't speak so slowly that it's robotic. Because what's going to happen if you're super robotic? Exactly. Boring. Right? You don't want to be like, that's why I don't like to do scripted videos because it becomes so robotic. Maintain eye contact with the camera. Now, I'm not saying do this, right? Where you're just like going like this and just staring at it, and this visual is probably going to be terrifying for people who watch this. But like, don't just do that. But like, have a natural kind of look. Like, talk to the camera, look at the camera, look around. Don't ideally just do like this. Like, say the camera's right here, and I'm just looking down the whole time on the ground. Watch where your eyes are. Try and engage with it. Because again, you're talking to the person on the other side of this camera. Show enthusiasm. Smile. Hey, you get to talk about your business. You get to talk about what you do. Ideally, what you do you love, so you should enjoy it. If you're not, maybe you got to do something different. Okay? Be natural with your hand gestures. If you flail your arms about, that's okay. So do I, clearly. I just make sure that I don't have anything really expensive around me, because I have had some mishaps. That camera has fallen down before, and it's cost me a lot of money. So be careful. These last two are so vital. Do what feels right for you. If you're going to do video, if you want to be in your natural space, you want to be in a space that gives you energy, then do that. You know, do where you feel really comfortable. Again, I know I've used you a lot, Charisse, today, but like on Monday we went and shot. Actually, you tell everyone where we went and shot videos and how comfortable you felt.
I took Chris home, so I took him to Colchester Beach. That is where I grew up, and I knew I had to do another content shoot, which I enjoy doing. But tax season just ended, as you guys know, so I was like, I need to do it somewhere where I'm going to feel the most relaxed, not anxious. That way I can just focus on the message I want to put out there. So we went out there. We were out there for what, 3 hours maybe?
Yeah, something like that.
We got what, like 2 months worth of content?
We got 50 videos.
Yeah. So, and lunch. So yeah, it was really nice. And that's all I had to do. I had to show up, I had to record, and now those 50 videos, that's in the hands of someone else.
But like, I think the key there is that she went to a place where she felt comfortable.
Yeah.
So like, if you're going to record content of any sort, do it where you feel comfortable, where you feel like it's your space, that you own that space, and you walk in, you're like, whoo, get out of the way. You know, I got this. Don't do it somewhere where you're going to feel super like anxious and worried and stuff like that. Again, be comfortable. But talk about what you know. Because here's the thing. I guarantee you, in the back there, we could have probably recorded, no doubt, I bet you we could have got 20 videos here if we had the time, easily. I could just ask you a bunch of questions, because you know your business. I could ask you just a bunch of questions, and then boom, you're done, right? If you talk about what you know, you got no problem here. Like, don't trip. If you get tripped up, that's cool. Just keep going, and then you can edit that out. Questions on the on-camera piece here. Building confidence.
Is there anything that you have seen people do on camera that you would recommend not to do?
Not to do. I think every business is so different and every person is so different. So what some people might think you shouldn't do might work for somebody else. So it's kind of a hard kind of answer. Like swearing as an example. Some people might think you should never do that, but there are very successful people who are able to swear the odd time, and it actually translates quite well. It just depends on their personality. There's probably certain subjects to stay away from, which I think are probably self-evident, but again, it depends. So there's nothing that really comes to mind that like you should probably just definitely stay away from that. Maybe don't do certain hand gestures, maybe, you know. But overall, I think you gotta do what's right for you. Like, and you gotta figure out like, what's your style? What do you like? If somebody saw this, how would you feel? Like, if it was like your grandmother saw this, would she be proud, happy, confused? Like, it depends. Again, it depends on what your own style is. Any other questions from a on-camera confidence perspective? So I talked about, you know, when I walked up to the camera and got super close to it, like where do you focus? If you want to talk, again, directly to the audience, well, you just engage with them directly. If you're doing an off-camera kind of long-form video, you could have the camera here, and it's capturing me from the side. And I could be narrating something, I could be doing an interview, and that's totally cool. I don't have to look at it, but it's capturing some of that content, and that's one way to do it. The interview style is a great way to get lots of content where you're just sometimes glancing at the camera. Like I'm sitting there and this will be recorded and I'll look over and I'll say something, but I can look back at the audience. So where you focus, you know, just depends on the style of video you're trying to do. This one here, if you really want to be confident, there's a 4-step process which I think is going to be super successful for you if you're wanting to start doing videos. I call it the BETS method. Where you're beginning with an attention-grabbing statement or question of some sort. So here are 3 ways that you could, let's just use Juliana as an example. So what are some ways that people would maybe want to work with you from a photography perspective? Like,
Would want to work with
yeah,
me?
why would someone want to work with you?
I think my professionalism, I think because of my work and the way I display it, and I think because of how friendly I am.
Okay, so professionalism, friendly, what was the other one?
Professional, friendly, and my work.
Okay, professional, friendly, and work. So Juliana could say, here are 3 ways that here's 3 reasons why you might want to work with me in terms of my photography. Okay, that's your first sentence. And people are like, oh, what are those 3 ways? Now she's going to also like kind of maybe say a sentence or a statement around some of their challenges. Because maybe somebody's tried working with a photographer before and it hasn't worked out. So she could address that as part of her video. So here are 3 ways that you might want to work with me. And then she says a statement like, you know what? Some of you might have worked with a photographer before. Maybe it's been a challenging or complex experience. Maybe you didn't get the pictures back in a timely manner. I make this easy. And then she says, whatever her 3 steps will be, and I call this in the teach portion here, she's offering her valuable advice. In this case, she's offering her insights of why someone would want to work with her. And then she summarizes with a call to action. How could people work with you? Yeah, how
do they get in contact with
do they get in contact with you?
Through my website, through my Instagram, through my Facebook, phone, email.
Which one? You get to have one call to action.
Facebook then.
Okay. So then you would say to people, send me a DM. Is that what it probably be?
Send me a comment below.
Yeah. So start with, again, what that thing is with her is like, here's the 3 things. Here's the problem that she's ultimately solving. She says what those 3 things are, and then she's got the clear call to action, which is her DM to Facebook. Scheduling social media. Some of you put your hands up saying that that's something that you sometimes do. Scheduling is important because it maintains that you have a level of consistency overall. Because when you're consistently seen and show up, obviously that's when more opportunities come to you. It's really cool feeling when somebody's like, I've seen your videos before. I know what you're all about. Because they've just seen you consistently flowing and going with content. This lets you plan ahead and get really, well structured if you maybe have a content calendar. You get it in advance. You can also analyze your performance and make adjustments according to your strategy as well. So there are lots of scheduling tools out there. Some of you might have heard of some of these before. Sometimes some people never have heard of them. Hootsuite, Buffer, Later. These are very similar tools, allowing you to post your content across any of these channels if you want. Meta for Business. This is for Facebook and Instagram. If you want to schedule your videos over the 30-day period, your posts, your carousels, you can just put them there. The tool I like to use is called Metricool. I use that for myself and all for my clients as well, where then we're posting that across all of the channels. We get a lot of analytics using Metricool too. But there are countless versions of scheduling tools, and many of them have free plans. This is not going to cost you anything to get on these plans. So if we use, say, like, Hootsuite or Buffer or Metricool as an example, you could sit there and have maybe 2 or 3 channels in here, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your Instagram, and you can schedule all your content. So over here in the blue dress, you had said that people were asking you about LinkedIn, right? But you're doing Facebook and Instagram right now. Well, if you use the scheduler, say like Hootsuite or any of these other tools, you could have all your content go Facebook and Instagram, but you could also just check off, okay, I'll just send the same video to LinkedIn. Maybe I won't prioritize LinkedIn, but at least the content's going and flowing there. Doesn't mean it's your priority, but at least, hey, it's going. That's one benefit of scheduling. It just makes it easier to push the same content out across some of those other channels. Questions on scheduling? No? Okay. We're going to talk websites real quick as well. So again, some of you have websites, some of you don't have a website. There's a number of reasons why I want to have this slide here, which is, I think, is important to say why you should have a website. At the end of the day, it's what I call your welcome mat. It's the first impression that'll be made. If someone's going to actually see, are you a legit business or not, it's going to show up on whether you have a website, because it shows that you exist. It's also going to help them understand whether you're the right fit, because you're going to have more information that you can't feature on your social media, but it's going to be there on your website. Your about section, the like. Be found on Google. Anybody Google themselves? A couple of people, right? It kind of sucks if you Google yourself and you don't find yourself. That's unfortunate. So in order to be seen, you got to probably show up on Google. You got to show up on some of those other social channels. I'm not self-absorbed, but I constantly am sometimes Googling myself to see what comes up for Chris Hanna. There's Chris Hanna, there's me. There's a Chris Hanna Storage Wars guys in the States, so I'm constantly competing against that for my own name, but trying to figure out how do I show up. I want to be found. There's credibility. You say, I've got a business. That's great. but then people go to try and look you up. They're going to look you up. People are always going to look you up. They're going to go try and find you on Instagram. They're going to try and find your website. You don't have it, they're like, this is a legit business? Is this there or not? You don't have to have anything fancy, but you need to show up.
Just to go back to the Google website thing.
Yep.
Okay, for me, when I Google Beauty is Me, it comes up, but I'm always like, is it because it's my phone? And I do it all and I do it all the time, but if you should put in for Beauty is Me, will it show up or would it be like...
Let's do the test.
Down on another page. Beauty is Me, Windsor.
Well, if that's your direct name, it'll probably just pop up.
Okay,
Beautyisme.ca?
yeah.
Yeah, you show up right at the top.
Oh, wow, good.
Your Facebook shows up at the top. I think there's a few things actually. Your Instagram shows up as well. And then there's a hair and braiding company that pops up right after. Right, yeah. So yeah, you show up. Now the key thing is though, yes, your name shows up, but what are some of the key words that will help pull you up too? What do you want to rank for? That's critical. Branded email. I say here, don't be a Yahoo, get a legit email address. That can be a major difference maker also for your business as well. Like I could sit there and be like, okay, chrishanna@gmail.com, or I could go chrishanna@allincontent.ca. So at least then they know, hey, this is actually tied to the business in some way and it's not just some personal random one. People are going to be less likely to maybe send an e-transfer or payment through to somebody if they don't think it's actually associated with the business as well. So having a branded email with a website is huge. If you've got an out-of-date website, doesn't have a lot of information on it, that's obviously going to hurt you as well. People don't know what they look for. This is the most important reason of why you should have a website. Ensures control. I said earlier, TikTok might disappear in the United States. If your business is solely built on one social media network and that disappears, maybe your business is hurt too. So control your space, have a website. Not having that leaves you in the control of Mark Zuckerberg who runs Facebook and Instagram. He decides to crush the algorithm, your business might be crushed. So have something that you control. Every website should have at least these 5 sections, at least. Homepage, obviously when you first land there, what's on that? Contact, we want them to reach out to us, want to do business. The about, what's your story? Who are you? What do you do? If you start to put your name on your website and you're starting to put some of that story, that'll start to pop up as you start to search as well, right? You're starting to get that. What are the services or the products that you offer? That could be like one single page, it could be multiple pages depending on the products that you have too. And then I said earlier, blog, from an SEO perspective, just starting to have that, having some of those articles, some of the free key content points, that's critical. You might have other pages that you want to add to over time. Last section here, this is the final section, final couple slides. Social proof. Leverage those testimonials that you have for customers. So you got 17 minutes with customers. That is awesome. That is so critical and so important. 88% of consumers trust reviews. If you get Google reviews, that's massive, that's huge. But showcase those testimonials. Almost after every single video session that I do with a client, I will ask them, hey, one more video for me if that's okay. And I say, what was today like? How'd that video session go? What's it like working with me? And then I can use that video and I can share that on social media. It's better to have my clients be able to sell for me than me having to do it.
I have a question about Google reviews.
Sure.
Yeah, because people have different experiences. So you might have an issue with someone and then she went on Google and then write bad reviews.
That's right.
Based on her experience.
Of course.
So do we have to base on that or we have to go and find out ourselves?
So what do you mean by that?
Like, okay, if I say, okay, I'm going to do my nails.
Yep.
And then the review is like, oh, don't go there,
Sure.
So.
Are you responding to those Google reviews?
Yes.
Okay.
So should I respond to the Google reviews or should I go and experience myself?
You should, as a business owner, you should respond to any Google review that comes in, good or bad. And then as you respond to that person who maybe had a bad experience, invite them to have a conversation with you. See if you can make it right. Because if you can make it right, someone can go back and change that Google review as well, so that it doesn't sit there and be a 1-star review anymore.
Okay, so what if I'm a customer?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to go and do my mails, and then the reviews are not good. Should I go or?
Oh, that's a personal preference, right? Like if you see a store has got really bad reviews, I don't know about you, but I'm probably not going.
Yeah,
Now it depends. Maybe you're like, okay, if it's just a handful, it's like, oh, well, maybe it's not that bad. It depends on what you're trying to do.
experiences too.
But most people, like I said, they will look at reviews before making a decision if they're going to do business with somebody. So obviously, the more reviews you can get, the better. But if you've got a low count of reviews and you've got a low score, that's going to hurt you. So then get other people to start filling out reviews to try and drown out that bad score as well. But it is critical because people are going to look at that. Who looks at reviews before they buy anything? They buy some services. Everybody put their hand up. So there's your answer.
Sorry, can I ask a follow-up question?
Yes.
So, like, aside from Google reviews, what other kind of reviews can I put?
Facebook reviews.
Facebook.
Yeah, you can get Facebook reviews, no problem. You could just get testimonials that you could put on your website or comments. Be like, oh, this is what it's like to work with you. And then you could put that text or you could use that as a video. Like, it doesn't have to just be Google reviews, but like I think like testimonials is the key word that I would use, or endorsements. Right? I'm always collecting that from different clients because I think it's important. And I maybe don't use that to like for a couple months down the road or a couple weeks, but then that makes it easier. Just capture feedback. So Sharice, you talked about a survey. What kind of feedback can you capture from all your clients? Maybe it's like, what's it like to work with Vision and Numbers? A bunch of people give you, some testimonials. Well, maybe that's some stuff that you turn into social posts. If you got people who mention stuff on social media, that's a cool, powerful way as well. The big benefit of Facebook is you got Facebook groups, right? So one of the biggest groups that's used in this area is the LaSalle Community Group. A lot of people will post on there, especially on Mondays for the Business Monday, and they will say, oh, I'm looking for a plumber, I'm looking for a good bookkeeper. Well, it's really cool if clients of yours will then be able to say, hey, you should work with Vision and Numbers. That builds some trust and credibility as well if you've got other people being advocates for your business. And then if you got case studies, sometimes you maybe want to do content with your customers. That can also help you as well. My final couple of tactical tips, and then I'll open it up for any other final questions that you got. When you're creating content of any sort, do what gives you energy. If you hate doing a certain type of content, don't do it. It's not worth it. Go all in on your strengths. I came to learn that I am so much better at doing video than I'm doing just static posts. I don't enjoy those. I'm going to focus on video. Delegate or outsource the rest. If there's stuff that you still need to do, hire someone to do it. There's lots of people who offer different services. And focus and go all in. That's also critical. So this is my last, kind of section here again. So again, I'm with All In Content. What we do is we do virtual coaching on content creation. We also do half-day and full-day video batch sessions. One day working with me, you're set up for months of consistency in advance. Obviously do things like this, group training and workshops. I've got 3 weeks in a row of doing a lot of these actually at different places around the region. And then obviously full done-for-you social media management for businesses. So if you want to come up with the ideas, you want your content created for you, you want it scheduled in advance, we do all that too. Again, you can scan the QR code. I also got business cards if anyone's interested in that. And I'm happy to just have a consultation with everybody. This is a free consultation to have with everyone, just to talk through what's your strategy? How can we improve things? Is there optimizations? Do you want to do an audit on your content? We offer that free to everybody as well. And so I want to open that up for everyone here in SWOBEN. Let's have a free conversation to see, is there ways you can tweak your content? I love talking one-on-one with business owners, and I could talk about this all day long. But I only have so many hours. As always, go all in with whatever you do.